Auguro a tutti voi amici piloti italiani della Audi 90 Gto IMSA in bocca al lupo per il campionato Kamel GT. Fatevi onore, date gas e tenete alto l'onore della mia Audi Racing preferita di sempre, l'Audi 90 IMSA Gto. Ciao e in bocca al lupo, tenete giù.
Best greetings to all drivers from the Audi Gto 90 Championship. Good success!
An almost unbelievable stat for Fabian Gerber after last round is that Road Atlanta was his first time this season where he finished somewhere other than P1 or P2. And even then, it was a fifth place. However, for the GTO points leader, Lake, he has yet to finish outside of the podium in these 8 rounds. Beating the best will take some amazing talent. We'll see if anybody's got it as we get ready to watch round 9 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Bathurst might not seem like a great place for multi-class racing like this, but the Kamel Series has made regular visits to this circuit. Let's learn a little bit more about what makes up this behemoth track. Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock's Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest's Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today. Well, I think it's fair to say that this track is perhaps one of the most famous in the world in terms of motorsports. But even though sports cars have and do race here, Adam, it's not really these sports cars.
No, and last week's trip to Road Atlanta was a decent training session for Bathurst for these guys. See, take Road Atlanta, narrow the track by 1.5 lanes, stretch it to 4 miles or 6.2 kilometers, and take it up to 23 turns, and add quite a significant bit of elevation. You have the Mount Panorama Circuit. This legendary track is unpleasant for both of these vehicles. With no banking to help them, the Audis turn into the corners. They will struggle everywhere that isn't straight here, but especially over the mountain. The Nissans, on the other hand, will struggle to get the power down on the undulating surfaces here at the mountain, with their wide body in the narrow canyons of the mountaintop and the surprisingly high curbs and changing elevations also causing issues. Multi-class here really is all on the GTPs to be patient. If they don't pass the Audis before Griffins, the next chance is a risky dive into Skyline. Otherwise, they'll have to wait all the way until the Conrad Straight to pass, losing them upwards of 3 seconds over the mountain to their competitors. The alternative in both of these easily damaged machines, however, is catastrophic, with even slight damage reducing top speeds by 10 miles per hour. As always, Joe, Bathurst is all about discipline and survival for the Kamel Series, but that's going to be nearly impossible with a full field of 55 drivers.
That will probably be the dominating talking point here during the pre-race show, but we'll get to that in a second because we want to talk about the prototype standings. Look at this. Now, they have not applied the drop points to these, so this will tighten up just a little bit, but even still, like I said, the drop points for Fabian Gerber include a 5th place right now. That's why you see him at 72 points ahead of Jamie Hall. Laust Olsen, not too far back from Jamie, who's been certainly holding his own and racking him up, along with Nick Mukanos, who's been thereabouts, but hasn't had as good of a season as we've seen in the past for him. And then Hovdal and Sion remain tied for the 3rd week in a row. on points, except they've now fallen to 5th place for that one. What about the GTO standings? From what I understand, Lake has been doing pretty well himself.
Yeah, Lake made a successful pull against Michael Houghton and Yuko Lesko last week, with Lesko getting wrecked out during the middle of that race. Phil Lake now 18 points over Michael Houghton, with Leskola 26 points behind Houghton now. He was on such a good charge, and then last week just seems to have gutted him. That plus the addition of a couple of the drop races, and that's why you see the point standings change just a little bit there up at the top of the grid. Franco Scurry's 24 points back of Leskola, and Reed Miller 8 points back of Franco. Look for 4th and 5th to be very contentious over the rest of this season.
So for today's race, we are in round 9, as we mentioned. It is a 40-minute race for this day, so it is not the endurance round. The drivers can't stay as patient as maybe they would have liked, as they've sometimes put those 60-minute races here at Bathurst. Not so this season. It is open setup, though, so they can try to get as much speed as they can out of the cars by tweaking them to their desire, but they also have no fast repair. That'll probably be the bigger thing, as we're expecting a number of cars to at least accrue a little bit of damage throughout the day. Incidents can go up to 17, where they'll get a drive-through penalty, and then if they hit 25, they'll be disqualified. We're honestly not expecting drivers to get up that high before being too damaged to continue here today. We're getting a lot of the first laps in for our prototypes, and Fabian Gerber up at the top spot yet again, holding the provisional pole, while Michael Houghton currently has the provisional pole, but we're still waiting on Lake and Kajanen as well as Leskola to put their first times in.
Yeah, one driver we haven't talked about all season is Yoni Kaiser, the driver on screen right now. Yoni is arguably the fastest GTO driver on the service. He races in the Friday races that this series is able to get the Pro Official, and he frequently outpaces Phil Lake, so look for him to put a good qualifying time in and to be very quick on track here.
So as he comes through, let's see what he can put down for the first lap. He's coming up to the final corner of Murray's. Just one more braking event to get right. Has to stay off that inside curb, which he does to the line. And it's going to be a 2 flat 4 with just enough time to come around for his second lap. That'll put him on the front row, but Michael Houghton still has 3 100ths over him.
Yeah, Michael Houghton's very, very good on single lap pace around here at Bathurst. In fact, he has an understanding of the circuit that a lot of the GTO drivers wish they had. Here comes Fabian Gerber, though, around for his second lap, currently holding pole by just about a quarter of a second over Otto Iamaki, who's already finished his times. So Fabian Gerber looking pretty good right now, but it's such a big field. Any of these drivers behind him could jump there and try and take the position away. Here comes Phil Lake, though, around the final corner, crosses the line, and that's going to put him on provisional pole by a second.
Not surprised at all, honestly, on Phil Lake, as he's only got that one lap, it seems. His first one did not count. He must have had a slight off track somewhere around the way. Jamie Fluke as well has showed up in the prototypes. He's known for being incredibly fast just about whatever he jumps into. So currently in 5th. Let's see if he can improve by at least a little bit. He's actually got 1.3 seconds up to the pole time right now and 8/10 just to get to the next car. So down to the line on that 48.8 and around Murray's corner. What's it going to be? 48.9. No improvement. In fact, he gets bumped down as Hovdal and Vaskilampi go faster than him. What about Yuko Leskola, another driver, still looking for that first lap time and under the gun?
Yeah, it's very dangerous for him right now. He's got to get this in. He's got 50 seconds to do it. He should make it to the line just fine, but the question is, will he take an off track, or has he taken some damage up at the top that might affect his that might invalidate his lap time? But here it comes around the final corner.
If he doesn't qualify here, he's got a whole lot of cars that he's got to overtake. He is going to get one in. It's a 2 flat 0, and that's going to put him into 4th in his class. All right, so crisis averted as we can see Kayla up to 5th position. We've got a number who have not put a time in. This is Vaskilampi on his second lap with about 15 seconds to go. It takes a while to get around here. That's why we're seeing many come down to the wire. But his second lap is not going to count, unfortunately. I believe that is going to set our results for today. Let's go through this 55-car starting order. Fabian Gerber on the pole, followed by Ardo Iamaki in second. And Ascari Rin jumps over from the Lotus 79s to start third. Timo Vascalampi in fourth will be followed by Kayla in fifth position. Xavier Sanchez starts P6. The next row has Matthias Hovdahl to the inside in seventh, and Millward on his outside eighth. Estefania starts ninth with Jamie Hall all the way down in 10th position. Unusual for him. He'll be followed by Fluke in 11th, and then Nick Lucano starts 12th. Tobias Gerber, who's been on the front row multiple times, starting 13th. Unfortunate for him. Stephen Warcup, P14, and Aitor Sintes Guignol in 15th. To his outside, it's going to be Ben Laughter in the 16th spot, Martin Krejcik in 17th, and Laust Olsen with a lot of work to do to get some good points today. He'll start 18th. Javier Mosquera will be starting in 19th, and Francois Offerman rounds out your top 20. On the next group of qualifiers, Sean McLean starts 21st, and Craig Schultz 22nd. You got Jacob Leon in 23rd, John Keefe in 24th, and Peter Mackay starting in P25. Pascal Tremblay will be on the outside in 26th, Alexis Tapiavico 27th, and Enzo Heceta in 28th. Hideki Koivisto starts 29th, and the last of that group will be Martin Wallace, followed by the last driver to get a time in, Cam Porter in 31st. Fabian Jungbluth, Paul Ferrer, and Roy Pruitt will start at the back of the prototype field.
And those are just your prototypes. Your GTOs start on pole with Phil Lake, with Yoni Kaiser alongside him. Michael Houghton with his quick pace starts in third, with Jukka Leskala starting off fourth. That's going to be an interesting four-way battle for those guys, but don't count out Rob Olenek in fifth position right now. Franco Scurry is going to start off in sixth, with Ove Trangrate starting off seventh. Reed Miller starting off in eighth position. Not a great qualifying for him today, with Roman Pavlovsky starting off ninth. Yuri Geese is going to start off 10th today, with Jim McGill in 11th, Miguel Alcalde 12th, David Dane in 13th for these drivers, Jurnej Zorak starting off in 14th, Miro Haraski 15th, Michael Haynes, last driver to set a time, in 16th position, with Carlos Fonseca, Pablo Rangel, Alexander Veldman, and Simo Raba rounding out your 25-car field for these Audis.
So they're split relatively evenly, with a little bit more for our prototypes here today. Longtime viewers of the Kamel GT series will perhaps remember an infamous race at Lime Rock Park where they had this exact amount. This is the most you can have in a single split in the Kamel GT series. And that race unfortunately didn't go fairly well. Let's hope for better days today. As the Porsche pace car comes in, it's going to be led by Fabian Gerber, and the green flag is out. He gets a very good jump. Many behind him still trying to come through that final corner as they all stream down towards Hell Corner. And it looks like so far the front of the group is good. In fact, it is nice and tidy for much of the GTP class. Let's go to the GTOs.
Yeah, fairly clean restart for everybody there as well, with Phil Lake leading Yoni Kaiser. Then back there, fourth place is Jukka Leskala, but he's actually chasing down Michael Houghton right there, so the Audi's doing a great job of keeping it clean as well as they go through hell.
But now comes the more treacherous part as they start to hit the mountain. The prototypes are through Griffin's Bend safely, but I see Ardo Iamaki gone for some reason. I'm not sure if that's internet connection. Oh, it looks like he has actually disconnected, so he must have had some sort of wreck in there that we missed. We'll try and find it later. But in the meantime, it is being led by Fabian Gerber with a monster gap of a second and a half over Ascari Rina.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to develop a gap like that here on the mountain, especially when you're the lead car with everybody battling side by side behind you. That's why he pulled that gap. I expect that gap to shrink now that everyone's gotten single file over the mountain.
So far, so good. I think we've got Mosquera, unfortunately, the lone GTP trying to work his way through the GTO class right now. Here is the lead of those slower cars being led by Phil Lake there.
Oh, we've had a wreck at Forest Elbow. Martin Wallace is sideways across the track. This could be a problem for our leaders in the GTOs. Can he get out of the way in time? Just barely.
Now he's got to sit and wait and hope that everybody avoids him. He does get clipped. He just needs to escape out of there, and he gets hit. Oh, I think that was Geisen who's actually carrying him down the straight.
This is going to be a big problem for the GTOs behind. There's nowhere they can go, Joe.
Yeah, I think Martin, unfortunately, did not make the right choice on that one. It was definitely a case of just needing to take the escape button. As we come back to our leaders, Gerber up to 1.6 seconds over Ascari, who might actually lose his second place because Marco is going to easily get by on the inside into Griffin's Bend. They're still being trailed by Hovdal, who's made up a number of positions at the start, from 7th on the grid to 4th.
Yeah, and back there in 5th position, actually, things are very heated between Millward, Jamie Hall, Xavier Sanchez, Jamie Fluke, and Timo Vascalampi. They're all right tucked in behind one another, and they've been going 2 by 2 down each of the straights this lap.
It is so packed up here from Millward on back. And it looks like Jamie Hall makes a little bit of a mistake over the top of the mountain, loses sight of him. He's got Sanchez just behind, looking for an opportunity. Jamie Fluke in there as well. You can imagine that Jamie is hoping to try and climb up the field and get a better result here today. The former Black Stripe driver, Fluke, is renowned for being able to adapt to just about any car he can hop into. As they come down Conrad, looks like Millward's going to be safe with Jamie Hall trailing, but Hall pulls himself a handicap over Sanchez as well.
Still impressed with Sanchez on his second place here in the Kamel GT series on the broadcast. He's doing an excellent job. Look at this. Jamie Hall definitely pulled quite a bit on Millward there. I think Jamie might be running some lower downforce than the rest of these drivers.
That could be critical today, considering how tough it is to pass over the top of the mountain. Be able to stretch away might keep this train behind. As we watch them come a complete lap 2, it is going to be a bit treacherous, even without the traffic, for this, man, what about a dozen cars here that we're seeing all together?
Absolutely. And here's Phil Lake as he's coming through now the final set of corners on the track here. He's got a good gap over Yoni Kaiser. Kaiser has, though, cleared Michael Houghton and Yuko Leskola once again. And so he's now back up to that second position and trying to chase down Phil Lake. Yuko Leskola seems like he's struggling on this early stage of the race. Now, one thing to talk about is that it's going to be about 10 laps before the GTPs will catch these lead Audis. Now, the back Audis, that's a whole different story, but these leaders are not going to be interrupted for about 10 laps here, and the GTPs will only lap them one time. So that's good news for these guys. They only have to survive all 31 of these remaining GTPs one time.
And I think we had a change between Fluke and Sanchez. He has managed to get up into 7th position and is already looking at the gearbox of Jamie Hall. You can see them coming down Conrad. Fluke looking relatively quick in a straight line here. But so is Jamie Hall as he starts to get up the gears. Oh, and he disappears for a second from my screen. Internet connection a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, Jamie's definitely running some lower downforce. Fluke, way better on the turns. You can see it right there, just how much he gained on braking through that turn. He's got enough downforce to go through these medium speed corners very efficiently. And that's why you're seeing him gain like that. But Jamie Hall, with much less downforce, is able to gain on Millward on the straights. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Well, if Fluke's got better overall pace, he's got to hope that he can do something soon, because Millward's already 4 seconds behind Hovdal. There's going to be a lot of work to do as soon as he gets clear air, if he can get himself into that position. They come up the mountain straight. Millward might actually be passed by Hall, who takes a look but puts himself offline on entry. That actually interrupts Fluke, who falls back and off the corner. Jamie Hall gets the better run and overtakes with an interesting move out of Griffin's Bend on Millward.
Yeah, Millward actually ended up on the outside of that corner, gone to the gray, and it's actually the race course actually does fall over there. It's got a crown in the road, and you see that a lot of the times in the supercars that's happening here too. Here comes Fluke, though, with a good exit, actually. Very interesting. Millward struggling over the top of the mountain here.
Clearly a little bit unsettled by that overtake. Hall trying to make good while he's got the sun shining. And Jamie Fluke now stuck behind a different car. He's already managed to pass one in this race. Can he do another here as they come off Forest Elbow. Not the greatest of exits, but it could still be on as they pick up speed, 175 miles an hour, 180 miles an hour. As they come towards the very quick kink and then heavy braking zone into the chase. Fluke's not going to get it this time. And don't discount Vascalampi behind them, also sitting in wait. Oh, and Vascalampi with a big mistake off the corner. Not sure if he spun the tires or what, but he caught it. And now he's got Mukanos as well as Warcup behind him. So as all this is happening, I wonder if we could check in on Yoni Kaiser, who's second place. He's losing touch with our leader, Phil Lake. And he's got two of the regulars here in this time slot, Michael Houghton and Yuko Leskala, who have been threatening and pressuring him.
Yeah, and here comes Houghton and Leskala. Unfortunately, I don't think Houghton's going to have the pace to get there. The draft is just not working for him today when it comes to gaining on the drivers ahead. He's not able to pass in the same way that he's used to, but still up in a good position for these two drivers for sure, as Yoni, Michael, and Yuko are all battling for the second position. Phil Lake still about 2 seconds ahead of these guys. He's just doing it on raw pace today.
It's impressive stuff. As they come down the front stretch, Houghton with a poor exit off of Murray's. Maybe looking to set himself up better here, coming off of Hell Corner, and it's decent. I don't know if it's going to be good enough, though. Leskala, in fact, is looking like he might be gaining. No, it is Houghton now, as they pick up speed towards the end of the straight, but Houghton lifts, and he's not willing to risk it yet.
Yeah, it's just not quite the right time yet, but he's going to have to get that move done before the GTPs show up. Otherwise, he's going to get stuck behind them.
Well, those prototypes actually have hit some of the GTOs, and that's cost the lead. Oh, and we've got a big wreck. Oh, this is Sean Mclean.
Look at...
And Vico, I believe.
On screen there, we saw...
Oh, yeah.
On screen there, we saw Fluke get passed by Millward.
Well, when was Fluke ahead of Millward? He wasn't ahead of Millward. He actually was trying to attack, yeah, and it looks like he wasn't able to make the overtake. So Fluke is going to have to try again. That helped out Jamie Hall by quite a bit. He's now got a gap of about 1.7. Yeah, it looks like Vico was involved in that big incident. We won't get a replay of it. Unfortunately, it happened out of Forest Elbow. Meanwhile, Marco going from the Lotus 79 over to the Kamel GT series with a lot of success. He's chopped down the gap thanks to that traffic. Scotty Rina, I have to say, as well, has closed in. It's down to about 2 seconds up to the overall leader now. Next in line going to be Carlos Fonseca. And they got a little bit of a break, but they're definitely not going to be able to get through the mountain without being interrupted here. You can see it as they come up to Skyline. He's thinking about it. He sticks his nose in. Fonseca's just going to take the off track, get the slowdown penalty, and swallow it.
Absolutely. That you do not want to get in the way of Fabian Gerber and charging Marco Kayla at all. These two drivers moving very quickly, and they're going to take all the time, the positions that they need. Their next driver up ahead is Alcalde. He's about 7 seconds ahead of these guys. They'll catch them when they go probably through Skyline next lap.
All right. Well, believe it or not, that was probably going to be one of the more calm moments here, lapping traffic. Back to the battle. Oh, between Houghton and Leskala as they go side by side up into Griffin's. Houghton's on the inside, and there's a demonstration you were talking about. Despite being much slower into the corner, Houghton with the better grip, and Leskala's not able to get it done that time.
I think Leskala might have missed a shift as well on the exit there, but this is surprising me because Leskala actually has some right front damage, some pretty significant right front damage that's causing him problems. Houghton, on the other hand, looks like he's got a clean race car, so I'm a little surprised to see that Houghton's falling back into the clutches of Leskala here. Kaijinen, though, 2 seconds up the road from these guys.
Without the pressure from behind, can Kaijinen start to look forward and try and chase down Phil Lake? Lake looking to continue his streak of podium finishes this season, yet to be taken off of those top spots. Down the mountain goes Houghton and Leskala. And obviously no chance to try and overtake through there. But what about here? Can he get the jump? Looks smooth off the corner. He's going to have the slipstream. I don't know if this is close enough, though.
It's definitely close enough, but the question is Lesko going to take the risk because it's going to be one. I think he's going to try and make the pass here. He's going to have to go up the inside. He waits for it. Let's see what he does on braking here. He's going to stay in line. He's actually going to try and do it around the outside of the corner. Here he goes. They stay side by side. Houghton and Lesko with good exits. Houghton being able to hold it on the outside of the next corner. A little bit of contact between the two. Houghton retains the position.
Fierce stuff. They know that it's going to change completely once they start being lapped by these prototypes. Houghton is holding on for dear life on this position. As all this has been happening, I've been keeping half an eye on our leaders. Actually, let's go to our GTP leaders because Marco's got a great run down Conrad, and he's got a nose ahead, but he's going to be on the outside into the braking for the chase. And Fabian Gerber also going to deny him. Looking for an over-under. Marco Kayla can't carry the momentum well enough. Here comes Ascari Rina. He's been brought into the fray by the traffic as well. Almost getting squeezed off the track. The Finn has to back out of it. Fabian Gerber giving him no quarter.
The first GTP lead battle we've had in a couple of weeks here, and it's proving to be a staunch one for sure. This is Jim McGill they're going to have to try and pass here. Pablo Rangel up the course just a little bit, battling with Miro Haraski. These guys are battling for the top 10 positions in the GTPOs, so these guys are not going to be slow on track, and they're not going to give the GTPs the room they've been used to.
We got smoke. Oh, that's Gaijin. And then I see a prototype, but I couldn't quite make out who that was. They were
Roy
offline. Okay, so they managed to stay out of the way. Look at how fierce they have to be with that traffic.
You gotta be kidding me. These guys are just slicing through these Audis right now. Rene is now falling off the back of these guys, but Gerber and Kayla, I think Kayla's gonna look for any opportunity to get past Gerber. A little bit of contact, nose to tail from these guys. They're gonna try and go around Haraski here in the corner. Haraski's into the wall. Oh my goodness, no love lost between these GTPs and the GTOs today.
Is every man for himself essentially out
and
there.
And Millward's out.
Oh, you're right.
It was a self-spin.
Decided to take the toe. I wonder if he was stuck in an area where he just could not get it turned around in time. Let's see, I think we might have the replay. Let's take a look at it, see if we can figure out what happened. Yep, must have been in an area where he didn't feel safe trying to get the car.
Oh.
What happened there?
Just snapped under him. That was Stephen Warcup that got collected in that.
He must have an H pattern and he just accidentally shifted to the wrong thing.
Probably
that's
right there.
Very bizarre. Yeah, there's no reason the car would have gone out from under him there. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead and the prototypes still stuck between these three. Oh, and I'm seeing, you know what? I think it was some sort of ghost car that did not show up on our screens. We're seeing an apology from Journa Zorek that appears to be the case. So was not a wrong shift. It was just some contact we weren't able to see, unfortunately. Meanwhile, more traffic in front of our leaders. This is Donaghy in front of them. He's going to stick to the racing line. They find their way through for the first two, but this is going to be tricky for Rina.
Rina's going to find it.
Yeah, he's got it.
He just found it, just barely though, but Kayla sticking like glue to the back of Gerber right now. Doing an excellent job. Their next driver is Rob Hamp up ahead of them. He's on outlap from getting some damage repaired. They're going to catch him. They probably should catch him on Conrad, so it shouldn't be much of an issue, but look at that, Gerber. Much more effective over the top of the mountain and into Skyline. Wow, Camp. A little bit slower than I was expecting here. Hamp going through the corners. This is going to hold up. Oh my goodness!
He clipped the wall there?
Oh man!
He got a little bit of ghost contact. Hamp goes around. He could get the car going as he's facing the right way.
That's a bad exit for Gerber though.
And he's probably got some damage on the car now. Drifts over to the left side knowing that he wants to cover off the inside. Marco coming up slowly, trying to give himself as much of a swing into the chase as they now come to the braking zone. And Fabian, once again, just like we saw last time, seems very strong on the binders. Taylor's going to get another bite at things. He got squeezed off last time, and this time, more ghost contact. That's going to send Fabian Gerber off into the wall. Mark Kayla, now our new leader, and he apologizes over the radio for that one.
Definitely not intentional. He had plenty of room to make that braking effect as they were racing so close as well. So Fabian Gerber now back going. He doesn't have too much damage, so he should be able to get back up there, but he's fallen back to 6th position, about 9 seconds off of the lead. Now it's up to Relay to try and catch Kayla, and they're catching up to the battle between 7th in the GTOs. This is between Reed Miller, Roman Pawlowski, and Franco Scurry.
Getting up towards the mid-pack now.
Oh boy, if they don't pass him here, they're going to have to wait until they get to the end of the mountain.
They're going to get one. Scurry's going to stay out of the way. Marco can get him, and definitely Oscar. But I don't know about here. This is going to be a big holdup unless he does something extremely brave.
Oh, contact on the outside of the wall from Roman Pawlowski. That's going to let both of those guys go. So Reed Miller, the last car they have to pass, they should be able to do it in the skyline.
Stays off to the side. Marco through, Oscar through. So they finally get a breather. They'll have Rabo up next. He's a ways up the road. Might not be until Mountain Straight that they catch him. That separated that battle between Miller, Pawlowski, and Scurry a little bit. Sounds like 3rd place is heating up, though, as Jamie Hall chasing Matthias Hovdahl for that spot, the final step on the podium. They've also got Jamie Fluke involved, and Gerber, who has recovered, but we don't know how quick he is after damage.
And they're trying to navigate some GTOs here. This makes things very difficult for these drivers as we watch. Look at this, Jamie Hall navigating Roman Pawlowski fairly well. Roman with some right side damage now that's affecting his drive off. This is Reed Miller they're passing. Jamie Hall right on the back of Hovdahl here. He's going to definitely need to try something as they go up the mountain straight.
Oh, but Jamie's bad off the corner, and Reed has to take evasive action just not to get into the back of him with that one. Everybody else behind gets through. I have to imagine many of these GTOs are not enjoying their race today. The way things are going, that's Gerber ducking around to get by Miller as well. So looking up in the GTOs, Kajanen, who now has, I believe, Fabian Newbooth trying to get by. This is not lap traffic. He's actually on the same lap. He's going to be able to sneak through. This is for 3rd place currently. They have, wow, Leskala's left him in the dust. He's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, Leskala a good 2.5 seconds up ahead of, wow, more than that, about 3 seconds up ahead of Kajanen, with Phil Lake a good 2.5 seconds up ahead of Leskala. Leskala's going to be hard pressed to catch up to the back of Phil Lake by the end of this race. We're just about to cross the halfway point now. This has been an insane race, Joe.
If we're honest, we probably kind of expected that. It's just 55 cars around this track, as long as it is. It does not bode well. Meanwhile, back to the battle for 4th in the GTPs. Jamie Fluke trailing Hall, who once again is using that low downforce to great effect and leaving the number 4 behind. Now they get to the braking zone where things will crunch together, and on top of it, they got the traffic of Rabo in there. Could hold them up just slightly, and indeed, Fluke now looking so much closer as they come up to the braking from Murray's. Jamie not quite willing to attack the other Jamie. In fact, he gets a poor exit off of Murray's.
That was a little bit of a scary moment from Fluke because he actually got onto the curb quite a bit through Murray's, and that actually, if you clip the grass there at all, that sends you around on acceleration. So fortunately, he's able to keep it going, and now they're going to start to catch up to the top 4 battle. Our leader in the GTPs is going to catch Michael Houghton, 4th place in the GTOs, as they start to go up the mountain here.
Yeah, and he's actually in a fierce battle with Kajanen right now. So Marco's got to be careful. They're not really going to want to give up too much here. Obviously, they've got the survival instincts in, so they'll have to back out of it if they see something dangerous that looks like it's happening. So who gives way as Kayla's going to back up just a little bit, and Oscar now is right on top of him once again. They get through both of our leaders without incident.
Oh, man, Kayla took it really deep into Skyline. That was very close as they go through the dipper. That's one of the things is if you take your braking too late in Skyline, you end up just sliding it through the rest of the downhill.
Oh, Rinna, unfortunately, not getting the exit he wanted out of Forest Elbow. Oh, so many long straights here that really requires you to focus getting the power down. Marco probably knows that, making sure that he's got a nice smooth run onto these long straights. Down into the chase, and Oscar still threatening with 17 minutes to go. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination.
Next 2 cars up, we have Yuko Leskala, and then a second up the road is Phil Lake. Yuko is closing that gap. He's closed it by 1.5 seconds just in the last lap alone. So keep that in mind as these 2 leaders catch the 2 leaders in the GTOs.
They're going to be able to get by them before the mountain section. We have to remember that these GTOs can be pretty quick in a straight line sometimes. And Marco's starting to gain. He will get by 1. I'm not sure if
Oscar's not going to get there, no.
Yeah.
He's going to have to wait. But look at this, Kayla having to wait as well. So he passes Phil before the left hand. All right, so this is going to get interesting here because Oscar's going to have to try and pass Phil Lake on the top of the mountain. This is our leader in the GTOs. This could get real sketchy here. Here comes Rene. He's going to try to find a way by. Oh, man, that's close stuff there.
Oh, and lap traffic.
Oh! Holy smokes! Oh, my goodness.
And a big wreck in the background.
That was Gerber.
Oh. Fabian's bad day comes to an end.
Oh, my goodness, Joe.
That was just poor timing from everybody, unfortunately. The 52 of Michael Haynes.
God.
Oh, and he had no way of seeing that. Just blind through there. Everybody else squeaked around the outside just in time. So as we come back to our leader, he's used that to good effect to 1.8 seconds ahead of Oscar. But this has done the reverse for our GTO lead. Phil Lake, challenged by Leskala, who has not only had to pick through the field, but had to down a monster gap to get up and challenge the multi-time winner, multi-time champion. Jenny Fluke able to get to the inside. This is going to be interesting with the slipstream.
Absolutely. I think Phil Lake's going to get a pretty decent one off of Fluke there, but I think Yuko's in a really good position if he gets a good exit off a Hell Corner to get him on the mountain straight. He does get a good exit, but Phil gets a good exit as well. I think Leskala's too close. Phil's going to have to cover him off here.
He's going to cover to the inside. We've seen that's certainly the smart line to take from what's happened thus far. The passes around the outside are possible but difficult. Does Leskala have the ability? Does he have the grip? The car's going to stick with it. It'll reward him with the inside into the cutting.
Oh,
They're going to try it with a slight bit of contact, and Leskala. It took him 2 corners, but he gets it done. Coming back at him. Phil Lake takes a peek, but backs out of it.
This is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Phil Lake pretty quick over the top of the mountain, but Yuko Leskala has had the pace recently. How much has Phil been saving here? How much tires does he have left? Can he get to the back of Yuko Leskala by the time they get through Forest Elbow?
But around the outside of Griffin's Bend, Leskala is not taking no for an answer here. I think that he's going to have a hard time, or Phil's going to have a hard time with Yuko trying to overtake him in these final 14 minutes. If he can keep up with him, look at this. We're at line. He managed to stretch by 0.5 seconds over the top of the mountain, and now with a good exit, he's going to leave Phil Lake behind even more as he disappears into the distance.
I mean, Phil saw his championship flash before his eyes with that wreck with Michael Mountain at the top of the mountain. He's going to definitely try and challenge Leskala for the win, but I think he's going to be happy to get out of this race alive. Yeah,
he does have quite a bit of buffer to Houghton in points now, but we got to remember those drop points tightening things up soon. There's about 18 between himself and Houghton, but 44 between himself and Leskala. So an even bigger distance between himself and the Finn.
Oh, speaking of Houghton definitely looking a little bit feisty on Kaishin here.
Ooh, you're right. This is for the final podium position. Let's see if they have any prototypes going up. Tobias Gerber, who's in a fight with Iker Estefania, is coming up behind them relatively soon here. So onto the mountain straight. Unfortunately, they're not going to be caught here along the stretch. They're going to get them over the top of the mountain. what is that going to do to this fight? Houghton gets the slipstream. Can he do the same move that we saw from Yuko just a little bit ago? No, he's not going to get the overlap. Takes a little bit of a look to the inside, just trying to get inside the head of Kaijinen.
A little bit of curb on the inside. No, Kaijinen missed the shift.
Oh.
They make contact, more contact. Oh my goodness. Kaijinen off.
Facing the wrong way. He wants to try and get it turned around. You're not going to, no, this is not going to work, Yoni. Yoni, please exit the car. So we go back to Houghton, who is...
Major right front.
Oh,
left
wow,
front
yeah.
Oh boy,
And now a battle trying to get through to the inside in an awkward position as our prototypes all fighting for 6th place. This is all three of them force this spot. Mukanos is going to be the one that gets hung out to dry, unfortunately.
So Icaro, Stefania, and Tobias Gerber are able to sneak through. Michael Houghton with major left front damage. That car's not going to be turning well at all. Nick Mukanos is going to know that. He used to drive the Gtos himself, but he's going to slip by here on Conrad Straight. Doesn't look like Icaro's going to be able to catch Tobias this time.
You're not going to believe this. Kaijinen got the car turned around. He's going again. He's down at 8th, unfortunately, so he lost a lot of spots. Look at the severe damage on that number 1 machine. Certainly not a win on the cards for him at this point in the race. Let's head up to Jamie Hall and Jamie Fluke as they continue to fight for what is 4th in the prototypes. They're a little bit, that is actually that wins car. That is Matthias Hovdahl. So he's still in this. He could obviously be caught up by the GTO traffic here along the mountain. He catches it the wrong place. But for now, he's got a little bit of breathing space.
You know, as chaotic as it's been, Joe, watching these two guys battle at the top of the mountain, I'm quite frankly amazed at how many people have been able to avoid the wrecks today. There have been massive incidents on blind spots all the way up this mountain, and people have been able to get by them. Quite impressed with the driving capabilities of these drivers today.
Don't need to go to it, but in front of these 3, Kayla and Rina are currently leading by about 4 seconds over the last step on the podium. They are separated by nearly 2 seconds themselves, and could yet come together. We'll keep an eye on that if they also hit traffic at the wrong time. We've lost a lot of cars. I'm not going to bother to go through the DNF lists right now because there's a fair few, and there's too much action on track to try and be distracted by that, including Jamie Hall getting held up behind Miro Vrasky, and there you see it right there, frantically looking side to side. Fluke looking to try and sneak through, but he just can't find a safe way. Maybe he gets another bite at it. He gets a good run off of Murray's corner. Hall starts to defend, then comes back to the racing line, almost coming together as they break for the first corner.
Oh man, they gotta be thankful that there wasn't any ghost contact there, because that was close enough for there to be for sure. But Fluke, with not a great exit onto the mountain straight, I don't think he's gonna be able to catch Jamie before they hit Griffins. My goodness, these guys are battling tooth and nail here. Jamie Hall with a little bit of clear air, has a little bit of time to try and catch up to the back of Hovdahl, but he's just not very good through the center of the corners, Joe.
I mean, no surprises, because we know that Hall's got the wing turned down a little bit, or at least has done something to reduce the drag on that car as he struggles to get the power down as well, coming up the hill. And in fact, it's looking very loose now. What has happened to the car of Jamie Hall? Both of them checking up big time behind Alcade. He'll get out of the way. No overtake there. Yet another one in the form of Miguel. Once again, just very little room to try and do anything in this section. Wow! Great maneuver there from Jamie Hall, leaving Fluke behind.
Yeah, he just sliced to the inside of Jim McGill, and now he's right up tucked in behind Hovdahl. This definitely broke up that battle for sure. Oh my goodness, what a great move from Jamie Hall. Risky, for sure, to pass someone into the dipper, but he made it work.
Valuable seconds between them now. And did he just overtake Hovdahl? No, excuse me. That was someone else that we saw behind him. That is the lap traffic of Wallace, actually.
But Hall now closer behind Hovdahl than Fluke is to him. Fluke's lost quite a bit of time, so Hall now gaining on Hovdal. I think without the pressure from behind, he's definitely faster than Hovdal, but that being said, I'm just not sure how much time he has left. Only 8 minutes left in this race. That's about 4, maybe 5 laps for these drivers.
Similarly, let's look in on the lead in the GTOs. Leskala, ever since he's taken that away, has put Lake behind him by about 1.5 seconds. Not much that Phil seems able to do, but if he finishes in P2, he'll continue that podium streak that he's had since the start of this season. I actually need to check to see what last season looked like, if it's extended to there even.
Yeah, like I said, Joe, Phil is just, I think after what happened at the top of the mountain with that wreck and just narrowly avoiding it, I think he's going to be very happy to just finish this race today.
Certainly seems like it. He's going to get overtaken here by Leon. And it looks like the 10th placed car making a smooth transition by. By the way, Leon, who qualified 23rd, up 13 spots.
Oh, we've had contact for P3 in the GTPs. Hovdal's around. Jamie Hall trying to follow him through Forest Elbow. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
more contact.
Yeah, he was trying to back it up to where he could get the car turned around, which he actually kind of is. Let's get the replay on how this happened. Fluke's going to get 3rd place because of it. Oh, I think he checked up from the lap traffic.
He did, yeah. Yeah, Hovdal checked up from the lap traffic, and Hall didn't realize how much he was going to check up and make contact with him.
I mean, that almost seemed inevitable in a number of ways, because we've seen so many times where they nearly got into the back of one another.
Well, that puts Fluke up to the podium by about 6 seconds here over Hall, who has left side damage now, so...
It almost makes me wonder, because it seems Hall and Hovdal, who are going relatively slow now, Gerber's about 8 seconds back. Now, that sounds like a lot, but if you're limping that car around, Tobias could find himself with a top 5. He's bringing along a few friends as well, Estefania and Mukanos, who've been fighting with him for part of this race. So not over on that. Let's take a glance at those 3. This is Tobias here, brother of Fabian Gerber, sadly retired already in this race. Now, we mentioned at the start, Tobias qualified very poorly, but you said it, survival is going to be key. He's gone from 13th to 6th. I don't think he's actually passed too many cars.
No, not really, and he's just been very consistent throughout this race. He's made a couple of risky moves that we've seen on screen, but that being said, his consistency has led him up to this position. Estefania is definitely gaining on Tobias, but with all the traffic, that was Jim McGill. He was in a battle with, he was just recently in a battle with, I believe, Mira Haraski.
That was Jim McGill. I don't think he's anymore. Yep, he's going to take a tow. Just watch the replay. Oh, clipped it. Just, I've done that before myself as well. You need every inch of track. And, well, thankfully, he found a pocket where the car could go. And that's his day over for sure. Up to our leader and the GTOs. Yuko Leskala now up to 2.4 seconds ahead. This is Offerman behind him, trying to tiptoe his way by.
Yeah, Francois Offerman in 12th position, trying to catch up to Martin Krajcik, who's 5 seconds ahead. I think he's going to be able to get there this race. Yuko Leskala doing an excellent job to pull away from Phil Lake, being very, very strong over the top of the mountain. That's where he makes up all of his time. But I mean, that's where you have to make up all your time here on the mountain. It's the most technical section of the circuit, and that's where we see all the time made, no matter what series we're racing.
Oh, wow. Hovdal was caught very quickly. Tobias Gerber not only got by him, but something happened with Tobias that Iker Estefania snuck through down Conrad. Iker is now the one into 5th position, but he's got 20 seconds to make up to get up to Jamie Hall.
He's got quite a bit of time to catch up to Jamie Hall. And these two, I don't think this battle's yet over. I'm pretty sure that Iker got caught up behind. I'm gonna have to double check. It's hard to keep track of the paint schemes of 35 drivers.
Oh, and Estefania's off. Estefania in the wall in the cutting. He's waiting like he wants to try and get turned around. We're going to look at the replay as he stays patient. And yeah, he did get out safe. Here's the replay. Oh, another one just took in the wall.
It was just a little bit too much brakes and a little bit too close to the inside wall. Flips that inside wall, ends up spinning around. So he's got some left side damage now that he's going to have to contend with for the rest of this race. And he's got Martin Krajcik breathing up his back as well.
Yeah, that's
oh my
Martin.
Goodness.
That's Martin that nearly got into him right there. He cut it close, but everybody managed to get away from that one. I won't say clean, but they got away. Here's Martin Krajcik still trailing him now in live time, coming down the mountain. We're 2 laps to go. Marco Kayla just started the penultimate lap here. Finn leading by about 2.6 up at the top of these prototypes.
Just doing a little bit of math to figure out how many people we've lost, Joe, and it's quite a few.
Good luck. We've got Mukanos and Tobias Gerber. A little bit of a fight, about a second and a half between them. I know it doesn't sound like a fight when I say a second and a half, but we know better by now. They go through some traffic in the form of Rangel. And then up next is going to be Zorek. He's the one that we think that had the ghost contact with Millward. There you see Tobias Gerber starting to gain on him, but not quick enough because he's going to have to make the overtake over the top of the hill. There's Zorek with the damage on the front end of that purple machine.
All these drivers trying to make positions here, for sure, as they're trying to go over the top of the mountain.
The question is, how much will he be held up? And will this kick the fight off once again?
Oh my goodness, who's that slow on the side of the road?
I unfortunately missed it. There's so many things to look at. We won't be able to catch that until a little bit later. We'll try and give an update.
Yeah, that was John Keefe and Pablo Rangel who actually made contact over the top of the mountain. They're both trying to make it back to the pits now.
Mukanos has indeed caught up with him being slowed up. Simo Raba now in front of him. Oh, poor exit for Tobias Gerber. Mukanos knows it. Are they going to go 3 wide? No, not quite. But he's going to have the slipstream. Is he able to attack down into the chase as they pick up speed over 175 miles an hour down Conrad? He pokes his nose out, but it almost looks like Nicholas is lacking the top end that he needed.
He's got right side damage on that clip, Joe, and it might be affecting that top end speed that you were talking about. But with Tobias and the way that he's been driving over the top of the mountain, Nick Mukanos is going to have to hope for a mistake in order to make this pass, I think.
He's still hounding him. Look at how close he's able to stay here. Another little look to the inside, just trying to get into his head. This is the final lap for them, though. White flag is now on, and we've amazingly got 15 of our prototypes still on the lead lap. It's just that long of a lap through here.
And we've lost 20 cars, Joe, so far in this race, and on this last lap, it might not be the final number.
So Yuko Leskala now taking the white flag for him as well. And our lead is going to be changed in the prototypes. Our leader just got taken out. Rob Olenek, unfortunately making contact on the final lap as Oscar Urina takes the top spot.
Oh my
Amazing
goodness.
drama at the very end. That's Miro Hraskis who's blown his engine. He's just trying to limp it home. And a surprise win for Oscar Urina. It is not over till it's over. And the number 5 is going to be able to take victory from 3rd on the grid. Oscar Urina takes the checkered flag at Bathurst. Fluke actually going to get 2nd place because of this. Kayla looks like he's going to be able to salvage a podium, but he is incensed over the radio.
Well, Phil Lake coming around the final corner. Yuko Leskala with a good win as well. Both of these drivers doing an excellent job. Coming over the top of the mountain. Yuko Leskala very consistent. Let's see whether or not he can finish this one out. No lap traffic from behind should be catching him.
And he's still pushing. He was all the way up to the wall coming over the top of the mountain. I thought he may have even brushed it. I think we'll have a replay of the incident that changed the outcome of the prototypes after we get this finish here with Leskala. 3.7 seconds now over Phil Lake. Remember Hovdal and how much he was limping? He fell to 13th. That has got to be gutting considering he was looking at a podium at one point in this race. Yuko Leskala down to the chase one last time. See, breaks hard into the corner. Survived all the melee that happened around him. Seemed to be certainly the way to go. Just keep the car safe, keep the car whole, give up some time here and there, and a win can be yours because today it is in the hands of Yuko Leskala in Australia. Let's take a look at that replay between Kayla and Rob Olenek. I jumped over to it just in time as it started to happen. Adam, you seem to think that this one a little bit more on Marco.
Yeah, Rob, so just after Force Elbow, there's that left-hand kink that takes you onto the Conrad straight. And that is, I believe, and that Robbo took, you could see it right there, just barely on screen. You could see it where Robbo took that apex. And Kayla thought that he was going to get the apex and tried to follow Robbo through. And that's where the contact happened, nose of Kayla to rear of Robbo. And that's where that trouble ended up happening, and I think that's why I don't see where Robbo could have gone other than that. He was at full throttle, so I don't know.
Yeah, sad we won't get to see a fully clear view of it, but regardless, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, which should be interesting, so stick around. Welcome back to Mount Panorama Circuit. It was a frantic one today, but we kind of expected that with how many cars we had packed in around here. Oscar de Rena took the victory, but he only led the final lap of the race. Jamie Fluke got promoted to second from 11th on the grid. Marco Kayla, who's leading all the way up even to the white flag, unfortunately made an error at the very end trying to lap traffic and fell to third. Jamie Hall had to settle for P4 with Tobias Gerber in the fifth position. Nick Mukanos with a 6 was followed by Laust Olsen in seventh. Iker Estefania, who was a little bit farther up, unfortunately wrecked also very close to the end of the race, fell to 8th place. Jacob Leon made further inroads from 23rd up to 9th in the end. Martin Krajcik rounded out the top 10. Francois Offerman finished in 11th, followed by Craig Schultz in P12, and Matthias Hofdahl going backwards because of his wreck and damage, finishing 13th. Then you've got Paul Ferrer in 14th and Cam Porter in 15th. Last car in the lead lap, Fabian Jungmuth, a lap down in 16th, takes us to the GTOs.
Yuko Leskala takes the win today over Phil Lake, who came in second. Stephen Workup finishing behind them. Michael Houghton Finishing in third position with Reed Miller coming home in fourth after starting 7th position today. Good finish for him. Franco Scurry with a good 5th place. Remember that battle in the points as well. Those two guys battling for in the points. Nice to see them finish 4th and 5th. Rowan Pawlowski comes home in 6th with Rob Olenek in 7th. Pablo Rangel comes home in the 8th position ahead of Alcalde, who came home in 9th. Mira Haraski comes home in 10th. And Jim McGill and Simo Raba, our last finishers, coming home in 11th and 12th position, multiple laps down.
And it looks like we've got our winner in the prototypes ready to talk to us as we cycle through the last of the finishers here on your screen. Oskari, what was it like inside the cockpit for this race? From in the booth, it felt absolutely chaotic, so I can't imagine what it's like from your perspective.
Yeah, hi Joe. Yeah, it was a bit different than usually in the 79, but I bought the car yesterday and just thought I might come join because the Bathurst is always fun, and yeah, it was fun, but it was nerve-wracking in the traffic.
That makes this win even more astonishing. So I take it then you probably weren't expecting the win at all, especially even coming down there to the end. I mean, talk to us what's going through your mind as you get to those last 3-4 laps.
I mean, I was ready for second place, and that was just I didn't think I would do that because yeah, I bought the car last night and did a few laps in test drive and crashed every lap, so I thought I have no chance here, but somehow I just found that, I mean, my pace wasn't great, but I think I was a bit smarter in traffic, and that helped me.
You've chosen an interesting time to show up, I'll say, because obviously this is an unusually frantic race for this series. And then next week we're going to Summit Point. Do you dare stick around for what is also probably one of the more crazy races we're going to see?
No, this was one off at least, or before something else. Like Summit Point is a bit too small for these cars, so I'll look when there's a good track and maybe join then.
Usually we get at least a little hesitation of a maybe, and I'll think about it just a straight no from Oskari Rina. Congratulations, and thank anybody you'd like to thank for the win on the way out.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I would like to thank you guys again for the great broadcast, and Fabian, I guess his name was. I just took his setup from the forums, so that worked out great. Thanks.
Absolute mic drop from Oskari Rina, coming in, winning, saying, no, I'll come back later, thanks. As Phil Lake on the reverse, continuing his streak, finishing second today. He's with Adam.
Yeah, Phil, a good battle with Yuko all day, but talk to me about that moment over the top of the mountain with the Audi flying in front of you. Talk me through that.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was coming through, but they were kind of, the two Nissans were battling, and I was kind of expecting that move there, which is, it's real nasty in the Audi because you're already on the limit, and if you don't anticipate that it's going to happen, and then you don't have time to do anything about it, and you're going in the wall. So I lifted it a little bit early just to leave myself some room, and then Michael got pushed out wide, I think, by the same sort of thing. Maybe he didn't anticipate it, and he ended up in the outside wall and then bounced back across in front of me. So it was a pretty scary moment.
So after that, Yuko ends up catching you, and you guys go for a nice side-by-side battle through the last sector of the course. How much fun was it to battle with Yuko today, especially after all that chaos at the top of the mountain?
Yeah, it's always great fun battling with any of the top guys in the Audi. Everybody races so clean, and we still race each other really hard, but everybody gives each other enough room, so it's really fun. Yuko had just amazing pace all week, so I kind of knew he was gonna, once he passed Yoni and Mike, I knew he was gonna catch me. It was just a matter of time, and once he passed me, I thought to myself to try and push a little bit and keep up with him, and I had a couple of little moments where I got a little bit closer than I'd like to some walls, and I thought, nah, I just try and keep a bit of pressure on him in case something happens in the traffic, but I didn't want to push too hard and ruin my race.
Very used to this question, I'm sure, but with 55 drivers at a full grid today, how was the traffic?
Not too bad from my perspective. I'm sure the Nissans disagree. That was a lot of cars, and it is harder for them. That they really lose a lot of time over the mountain. So for us, it's just kind of drive your line, be aware, but it doesn't really matter how many Nissans there are. For the Nissans, it's a big deal, and this is something that really divides the community. So, I mean, I think most people know where I stand. I like these big races with the big grids, but I can totally see the other side of the argument where people don't enjoy them so much.
Well, Phil, is there anyone you want to thank for your second place finish today?
Just you guys and all my teammates.
All right, Phil, thanks for talking to us, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Summit Point.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See you there.
That was Phil Lake, our second place finisher in the GTOs. Back to you, Joe.
Everybody else, unfortunately, too exhausted from the race to give us a talk. So we're going to close up and give a big thank you to the Kamel GT community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. Also, a thank you goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast. We listed them here on your screen. We give additional thanks to June Lalonde, who brings us our wonderful music. If you'd like to check that out, go check out Bandcamp. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Our social media includes Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. Link is in the description below. Next race, as we mentioned, heading to West Virginia for Summit Point Saturday, November 21st at noon Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar with a full plate today. So just keep tuning in because you'll probably find one. Next one will be the Jetta Masters going to Monza at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. That's with the combined track, by the way. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard, and see you on the track.